All right, so the recording is now live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Conquering Conversations. We are very brand new to this. This is my first time doing an interview, and obviously, because of quarantine and everything, we have to do it over Zoom. But we have a very fresh guest today, very fresh interview. I'm so excited to have Ryan Mitchel Brown with us here today. He's going to share a little bit about how he's conquering every single day, through chronic illness. We were just talking before this recording began how there's very few men speaking out about it. We know there's a bunch of men affected with chronic illness, but not enough that are, speaking about it, whether it's pride or they don't know how to put language to what they're going through. So that's what we're here for today. We're going to have fun. We're going to get to know from Brian and learn more. So I hope that you all get something out of this. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce Ryan Mitchel Brown. Ryan, thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some fun facts.
Thanks. I really appreciate you having me come on and being able to share my story, because I've been kind of doing the same thing that you're starting to do, and getting to know other people that are within the community, because honestly, chronic pain is the number one if you put it under an umbrella. Chronic pain is the largest thing that impacts the most amount of people around the world. Like hundreds of millions of people suffer from some sort of chronic pain. And you yourself mentioned you have fibromyalgia, and I have small fiber neuropathy, which is very similar to fibromyalgia. The pain is very equated. It's about the same sensation that we feel. So I think there are a lot of people that can relate to this sort of thing. And for me, my background is I basically have been doing, prior to being ill, I had been doing YouTube and acting full time, nothing like major, but skating by, which I'm super thankful to have had that opportunity. And then when this happened to me I'm relatively new, about 9 months ago, I was just sitting in my apartment after a day of work. I was tired. I was watching some anime, which I'm not too proud to say that I watched, but I was just watching anime, and I just felt this tingling in my hand. And I thought, I was like, it was very strange. It was kind of like your hand falls asleep, and then it just didn't wake up again. It just kind of tingled. And for a while, I thought it was carpal tunnel, because I'm behind the computer a lot. I'm doing editing. So I figured, like, okay, that's a pretty common problem. But within a few weeks, what kind of happened was it began to spread up my arm into my elbow and into my other arm. And then eventually I had this moment where I knew it wasn't something I had done to myself. A little more background. I suffered from anorexia. I've kind of had anorexic tendencies the last 6 years of my life. And so I think that's played a huge role in the stress that I put on my body and the way my body has responded to said stress. But within a few weeks of after feeling that tingling and it kind of spreading slowly, I woke up one day and my whole spinal cord was just burning, just like straight down the spine. Like, I went to the doctor, I went to urgent care, and he was like tapping on it, and it was burning. Like, that sucker hurt. And so that's when I knew that this was something bigger than like just a mild injury, because things just don't happen that fast to your body from doing hardly nothing. So I don't know if that's a fun fact, but that's a little background.
Yeah, no,
on
no,
where
no,
I'm
that's
at.
good. That's definitely, thank you for sharing that. Well, 9 months ago is when things kind of started to elevate. And
Yeah.
so, where are you from?
So I'm originally from back east. I'm from Michigan originally,
Okay.
but I've been living in LA and Salt Lake City, Utah, kind of going back and forth the past couple years. But right now, because of quarantine, I'm kind of stuck in Salt Lake, which is fine. Like, we have the mountains and we can still get outside here. It's not as crazy. But yeah, that's where I'm from. I love it.
Oh, wow, definitely. So what time is it over there?
It's what time is it, man? It's 11. It's 11 a.m.
AM. Okay, it's 1 p.m. over here.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So I included this question, just a fun question. If you could be any superhero, I know you watch anime, but any superhero, who would you be?
I read that. It was that one actually. I was reading that yesterday because I was trying to like preemptively think about it. That's kind of a hard one. Personally, I'm very partial to, and it's not like it's a Marvel. I would be Deadpool.
Okay.
just because I kind of am at a point, and I'm not going to swear on your thing, but where I kind of give no F's
Okay.
about I'm kind of a no BS person anymore.
Yeah.
And I kind of give it straight. And I really like his type of personality. That and the fact that that mother can heal anything. Like I would trade that for anything right now.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So you just told us a little bit about the chronic illness that you have and what you're battling with. That you said it started about 9 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take for the diagnosis to happen?
So it probably would have taken longer than it did. I was diagnosed within about 3 months of like beginning to seek medical attention, and I attribute that all to something that I'm very loud about on my Instagram is being my own advocate. I was simply not taking what the doctors were telling me and accepting that that's where I was at when and you've been through this when you go to the doctor, they do. You've had countless blood tests like me. I remember going to the hospital one time because they had to do a specific blood test that they couldn't do at like your primary care. And I remember them telling me this was the most blood that they have drawn from anyone at one time in this hospital. And I was like kind of amazed but that's because I wanted to just like throw an umbrella and just see what was landing, and nothing was hitting. And so I think what eventually got it was my own research. And eventually I found the test that would determine that I had small fiber neuropathy, which was a skin punch biopsy, which is like hole punch in your arm. They look at your nerve fibers and they're like, oh yeah, that's not right. But I think I know people that go through years without being diagnosed with any problem at all. They're still being told it's anxiety or stress. And I think I attribute my at least success in being diagnosed with something to just always going after it. And I think that's really important for anyone that's going through something like this is to keep looking for stuff, especially when you have such a crazy thing like this. Something's going on. And so just keep looking.
Yeah. So how did your family handle this?
So initially, that's a good question. Initially, they were kind of like what the doctors were thinking. They were thinking it was like anxiety, stress, all things that, I've experienced in my life before. And they really didn't think it was anything more than just like a physical injury, because I exercised a lot. I was going every day to the gym, and they didn't think it was anything more than a repetitive strain injury. And actually my primary care doctor wanted me to stop looking after about like 2 weeks. And I was like, I can't. And I'm like, I'm not done. But my family initially was pretty skeptical about it. And even when I went and got certain nerve tests done that showed nothing, they were convinced that I didn't have any nerve problems at all. But I felt different because I know my body more than pretty much anyone else. And so once I got the skin punch biopsy test, so about 3 months in, that's when they started taking it more seriously. And I'm fortunate now, like they always had my back, but they took more convincing. So I'm very fortunate in some ways, because some people don't get any of that. And they're still, even after diagnosis, being told like, oh, you're acting out for attention or all that stuff. So in overall, they were really supportive at the end of the day.
Yeah, I saw in your story maybe last week, you posted something about the concept of medical gaslighting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
So when I think of medical gaslighting, it's kind of the same theme of being told you don't really have anything, or what you have is not treatable. The doctors get to a point where I feel, and I don't want to say this because like we need doctors, like they're important.
Yes.
And they're doing great stuff right now. But when it comes to people with chronic pain issues, it's really tricky. And I hate to feel this way, but after the experience that I've had going through the medical system and speaking with like experts in the field of neurology, like the top dogs, and coming out of it feeling hopeless still, I feel like they kind of get to a point with people, and then they don't want to keep searching. It's like their interest in finding reasons for medical problems don't exist. They kind of want to keep a bottom line for whatever they're doing. and the research aspect of it, which you think they'd be kind of excited when they get like a mystery, right? Because this is something that probably doesn't cross their path all the time. But they really kind of just shut down and kind of give you like, oh, you're just being anxious, or oh, this is just stress. They want to dumb it down because they think you're overreacting, when really we're just acting in a way of wanting to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think medical gaslighting, from my perspective, is that continued temperament of just pushing a lower narrative than what is really going on with somebody's body.
Yeah.
And I think that's a stigma that, as people like you and myself and other people speak out more, is something that will change over time. But it's just going to take a while, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So when you talked about that you've been, I guess, accused of like doing this for attention or acting for attention, those people, do you just remove yourself from them, or do you give them grace? Like, what is that process like?
Well, it's funny. I actually made a video about this very thing the other day on my YouTube channel, just because I had somebody message me on my birthday of all days.
Yeah.
Like, they messaged me and asked me how, on Instagram, they asked me, what was the word? How my being sick, how my acting sick for attention act was going. And that really floored me, to be honest. So I made a whole video about it, and I wasn't trying to be antagonistic or angry at them, because I understand if I was in their shoe, well, one, I probably would have never messaged anybody that. I'm just not going to do that. But being someone who, prior to having chronic illness, if I was seeing what the chronic illness community was posting all the time, I definitely would have never understood how big a deal it was, because you yourself have to experience it almost to really get it. So I personally would I think, in a way, I'd need to remove myself from someone if that was like somebody close and that I knew was like going to be around more often than not. I'd probably have to remove myself. If it's just somebody saying it, it doesn't really bother me if it's a rando. But I think what I took it as was actually a motivation to continue advocacy and continue awareness, because it's these people that remind me how much more work we need to do to get that level of understanding out there, so that normal people can get at least a glimpse of what millions upon millions upon millions of people go through in different ways. And so in a way, it actually motivated me to hear that. So if anything, I would handle it with grace. And, there's not much you can say to people like that, because they just don't understand. But you should take that, and instead of let it get you down, let it motivate you to be even louder about what it is that affects you and other people.
That's so good. That's a tweet right there.
Yeah.
To get even louder. That's beautiful. Very well said, done. And so here at My Keeping On, we like to use the word conquering, right? Because every day it's a battle, and we don't know what tomorrow may look like for us. We may have a good day, bad day. So what does a good day look like for Ryan? And then what does a bad day look like for you?
And that's the hardest part and I mentioned this in the video I did. Sorry, I keep mentioning my video. It's just bringing me flashbacks from that comment I got. But I mentioned, like, it's hard not knowing. We wake up every day not knowing how that day will go. Is today going to be the day that, like, my feet just like burn all day long, or is my back going to be constantly like jacked up all day, or am I going to be fine? Because it's like it's a luck of the draw every day. And so a good day, I've been super fortunate. I've gotten on this early enough that I've been able to, like you are now looking into more holistic stuff like acupuncture and stuff like that. I've been able to kind of do some more holistic things to help me with self-care. And so I haven't had as many bad days as good days. And so a good day for me really is like, I get away with being mildly tingly and like mildly achy. And I consider that a pretty good day. But a bad day for me isn't necessarily a day where I have more physical pain, but it's a day where I have more mental pain. My mental, like, my whole demeanor is just in a depressive state. And so something that I've learned over the last 9 months, because I would actually say the worst part of my illness was the first 4 months. I experienced the most physical pain, the most mental distraught, and the most crazy symptoms within the first like couple months of my diagnosis, because I was so stressed about it all the time. I was constantly just worried. And that level of stress just amps everything up, especially when you have a nerve disorder or fibro that is in your nervous system. It just amps your entire body up. So one thing that I found that really helps with the mental side of it, which actually jacks up my pain, is a lot of mindfulness techniques and like meditation, deep breathing stuff. I was surprised because I was like super skeptic to all this stuff prior to any of this, but that stuff really works to just bring your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system down. And so it's easy. All you gotta do is I just do like 10 minutes, like every day in the shower. I just focus on my breath and my breath work and breathing. And I follow like a guided meditation every now and then for like 10 minutes. And that's really the number one thing that's helped me with keeping the good days more often than the bad days. You know what I mean? But yeah. I've had days where like when my back was completely on fire, I had days where like I spent my entire day on my back with an ice pack like strapped to my back, and I had a towel like holding it in place. So those were like my worst days was that, and I've been fortunate to not have any of that since then.
Yeah, wow. So what do you do for fun on those good days?
So on my good days, it's a little different now. It's kind of weird. We live in this kind of upside down world, because I would generally on a good day, I really would like to get out if I can, like maybe like go see some friends, go do something outside. Doesn't have to be like strenuous. One, because I just can't do it. Like I'm not going to go on a 10-mile hike. It'd be crazy. My body would die. Yeah. But I would like to like get out and usually see other people because I'm in a good mood. Or on a good day, right now what I've been doing is trying to be more productive with like my content creation and stuff like that, and just reaching out and having conversations with people, and just trying to take it day by day like that. I try to get more done on a good day than on a bad day. On a bad day, I'll usually take it easier and just relax more. And I kind of do those mental reset days every week. At the end of the week, I take like Sunday. I don't work nearly as hard on a Sunday, even if it's a good day, just to kind of like have a mental reset. Because I found that's like a better way to kind of let my body ease. But I really miss getting out and like being able to hang out with people and go do stuff outside and film outside with people, or go see a movie or any of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So some of the research that I've done, I've noticed that our greatest source of medicine is in our food. Has your diet changed at all?
Hell, man, it has changed it has changed a crap ton. So I'm actually a certified nutritionist. Okay. So something I'm recently certified. Nutrition has always been something I've been super interested in. I find it extremely fascinating what food can do to your body, basically. Yeah. And so I never really was I never ate a lot of crap food the last like 2 years or so. But I have been altering it. I'm actually currently working with a new functional medicine and actual MD doctor, who's named Dr. Terry Walls, who she has MS. So she was diagnosed with MS in 2000 and has been using diet to basically control her symptoms for the last 20 years or something like that. And she's had a lot of success. So right now we're going through a lot of fine tuning with diet and stuff like that. But I've been able to find, basically, if I'm going to give any advice to people about what I think works for me, everybody's so individual. It takes a lot of like trial and error to really find what's going to put you in your best position. But a good place to start, and a great place that started for me, was like I cut pretty much everything artificial, like pretty much. Like I miss some things. You know, I miss Diet Coke a lot. But I cut everything artificial and I focus on eating just whole foods, just like one ingredient foods. And for me, what's worked really well is actually being in ketosis, which is basically, and I'm sure you've heard that word, and a lot of people use it, though I used to hear it for weight loss, right? Which is what people use. But like I'm actually gaining weight on keto because I'm trying to gain some muscle mass right now. Gotcha. But it's all about energy expenditure. So it doesn't really matter what diet you're on. You could lose weight with anything. But what I found about it is it's been pretty anti-inflammatory for me. So, and I actually have, because I actually suffered, like you mentioned, chronic fatigue before we started talking. I had really bad fatigue prior to being having any of the pain issues for a couple years. I was really bad with, I would be like out by 4 p.m. Like by 4 p.m. I could go to bed. Like I'd be out for the count like every single day. And I've changed my diet, and my energy levels have actually been like really good. So that's been the number one difference with my nutritional shift, and noticing that with ketosis. So I'm not saying don't do this. Make sure you're working with a professional like a nutritionist. I've done this always with the guide of somebody else, even though I am myself a certified nutritionist. I always like to bounce ideas around. But definitely diet does make a difference. And even if it doesn't make a huge one, you're going to set yourself up for a better future, because the last thing anybody with chronic pain wants is other chronic issues like heart disease or any of that stuff. So it's going to benefit you in one way or another.
Right. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
For sure. So do you know of anybody else dealing with chronic illness, or like exactly what you're going through within your community or some in close proximity? Have you dealt with this alone?
So I mean, I've met people through the internet and through like Facebook groups and Instagram. Some people reach out to me on Instagram sometimes that are dealing with small fiber. I haven't met anyone personally in my circle. My proximity where I live that is dealing with, well, I met one person that was dealing with neuropathy, but it was a different form of neuropathy. So it's slightly different. But the closest person actually at the very beginning of this that I connected to was my grandmother, because my grandmother has neuropathy issues, but it's all from bone spurs in her neck. So it's like from degenerative disc. So it's not like autoimmune or anything. But she was the very first person to believe what I was saying, because she felt the very same sensations I was feeling, even though it was for a completely different reason. But she knew kind of the feelings that I was going through. So she has been probably the biggest impact as far as like being able to talk to somebody about it. So I talk to her often. So she's probably my number one on that list.
Well, shout out to grandma.
Yeah, shout out to grandma.
What are some ways that your family and friends, maybe even coworkers or peers, best support you?
I think well, my family's been really, really supportive. They've been with me, like, even when they didn't like believe all the craziness. Like they would go with me to doctor's visits and stuff when I was in town. And they would, like, my business partner, my best friend, that we do YouTube together, he paid to fly me and him to Boston to meet with the experts on small fiber neuropathy in February. So he paid for me to be able to see like the top tier doctors to see what they could look at this stuff. And so honestly, they've been really supportive. Like my family's like, they've always been having my back. My friends have been really supportive, even if they don't fully understand it. Right. They're at least open to the idea of like, I don't understand it, but I don't deny the fact that you're going through this. And so they've taken workload from me, like editing work. I've had my friends edited some videos for me because my wrists just get too painful or something. So they've been taking some loads off, but hopefully I'm trying to find ways in my own way to give back to them and let them know that I am super appreciative of all the things that they've done for me. Cause it's not every day that you have such a supportive group of people around you. I know so many people that don't. And so that's what I'm trying to do with my page and stuff is to be that support for people that just don't have it. You know what I mean?
Right. So do you struggle to ask for help, or do you wait until they come to you? Or
so that's a big one. This was something I learned early on. I'm not someone that, I don't consider myself someone that asks for a lot of help. But this was something I learned early on, like as it started progressing and I wasn't getting anywhere, that I couldn't do this alone and that I really needed support. So that's when I really started pushing doctors and like pushing my family to help me, and not like in a real mean way, right. but help is really crucial. Like no one's gonna, I mean, I respect anyone who's doing well with this on their own, but like if you don't have to, like, really find somebody to help you, at least like get word out or something, because we're in this together. Like, this is like I look at this as a big picture thing. People that suffer from fibro, chronic illness, a lot of like neuro related illness, we're all in this fight together. And I think the more we can lean on each other for support, I think it's better.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So we kind of hit on this before the recording began. Do you think men suffer more than women do when it comes to chronic illness?
That's an interesting question, because we mentioned it before, and this is something too with the anorexia community that I've noticed, is that a lot more, and I couldn't tell you statistically whether men suffer more. We can't know for sure. But women seem to be more vocal about it. And I think that's just because they started talking about it first. So that wave kind of started moving as far as like talking about things like that and body positivity and all those things. And men, I just think, have this stigma of like having to be macho or something, or keep it like held in, or not let it affect them, that I think needs to stop. Because I guarantee you, if more men start talking about it, like the whole world would just see how many more people in general this affects. Because even right now with fibro, like they say fibro affects more women than men, but I don't even know if that's a true statistic. I think just more women are vocal about it. And I guarantee you more men have fibro than say they do. You know what I mean? So I think if it's something that we as a community for chronic illness need to work on. And so every time I see a guy that's like putting out stuff, I love that, because it's like one more person that's sharing their story. And I think we just need more men to just be vulnerable and real with what's going on. There's no point trying to act strong. You know what I mean? Like, we're all human. We're all pretty much the same. So yeah, that's what I think.
Beautiful. So a few days ago, you posted this, and I wanted to read it and just kind of ask you to expand on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
You said, when I was first going through the beginning phases of figuring out my chronic illness, I often wished to be normal. But after a lot of thought, I began to realize that truly normal doesn't exist. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So like, and I think everyone goes through this in the beginning, or even like now, like people who've been dealing with this, they look back and they wish for the before times, like before they had it. They wish they could just go back to being like everybody else that's not dealing with chronic pain. But I never actually really, even before this, I never liked the word normal, because I don't think normal is a real thing that exists. Like, everybody's going through crap. Like, everybody has something going on in their life, whether it's a mental illness or another pain issue, or like high blood pressure is a chronic, condition, or any of that. Everybody has like something. So normal isn't like it's just a stigma within itself. And what I meant by that was saying there's no point wishing that you could go back to the way you were before. Because even if you were to say, heal this crap, you go back to feeling good, I guarantee you mentally will never be the same after having gone through all of that. And I would hope you're not. I would hope that if anybody got better, they would not suddenly just forget the community that they were part of. You know what I mean? And I actually worry about that. I worry about how many people in the chronic illness community, if they got better, would just suddenly like never spread awareness again, because in the end, they're only for themselves. And so what I mean by that is you need to embrace what has happened to you while trying to improve it, but don't let it become this like, oh, things are so much worse than they used to be, because it doesn't matter. Like, the time has passed. You know what I mean? Everybody has better days in the past, but you also have better days ahead of you. Yeah. So what I was trying to say is that don't wish to be normal, wish to be a better you. Mm-hmm. And that can mean so many different things. That can mean like a better person. Doesn't have to be a physical thing. As long as we're trying to better ourselves in some way, that's all that matters. And so being normal it's just I don't want to settle for normal, if that's kind of what I meant.
Yeah, yeah. I remember seeing this quote throughout high school and even college. Why fit in when you were born to stand out? Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
talking about becoming a better you, what kind of legacy does Ryan want to leave behind? Who do you want to be known for, remembered for?
Man, dude, I don't, that's such a big question. You know, I would like to be remembered as somebody that stood up when not many other people were doing so and spoke out for other people dealing with horrific pain and just trying to get shit done about it. Like that's all I want to be remembered for. Like just a guy trying to get stuff done for other people. Cause this isn't about me. Like it
Right.
affects me,
Mm-hmm.
but it affects so many more people and it affects them far greater than I have experienced. I know people that have been dealing with this for like 30, 40 years. I've talked to people that have had like horrible pain for like 40 years. And I look at them and I'm like, you're the most positive person I've ever met. Like, how do you do that? And if I can just be like one like light of positivity on somebody's life that just made them get up and be like, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to advocate for myself. I'm going to keep pushing my doctors. I'm going to keep pushing for answers. I'm going to keep looking into new ways to feel better because I'm not going to settle. That's all I want people to remember me for. I want to be remembered for the guy that reminded me not to settle for less. Like that's it.
Yeah, that's good. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Man, dude, I don't know. I'm hoping that this Corona thing is done by then. That's what I'm hoping for. I'd like to be able to get interviews with more, be talking to more high profile people in the medical community that are genuinely looking into this and trying to find cures. Like I mentioned Dr. Terry Walls earlier, who's a doctor. Like she's a professor at University of Iowa and is now embracing some more holistic methods to treating this stuff, because I think you're going to find more answers in that than you're ever going to find in a pill. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
most definitely.
So I think we just need, I would like to hopefully down the line be able to aid that. I'll just use the word revolution because I can't think of a better one. I'd like to be down the line, hopefully 5 years, like aiding in that revolution of combining those two worlds of medicine and holistic medicine and meeting in the middle and trying to find some ways to really benefit people. Because at the end of the day, like the human body, whatever's wrong with you, is made to heal itself. Like you like if I got a cut and that never healed, like your body's like meant to fix certain things. So it's about putting your body in the right environment. And so I hopefully can down the line aid in that conquest of figuring out how to do that for people, because everybody is so different. What's perfect for my body is not going to be the same for you.
Right,
So
right, beautiful. So the $1 million question: how can we find you? What are your social media links?
yeah, I'm easy. I'm easy. You can find me at Ryan Mitchel Brown on Instagram, and on there I have a link to like all my YouTube and stuff like that. It's all under the same name, Ryan Mitchel Brown. So you can just find me there, and feel free to hit me up whenever if you have any questions about anything like nutrition or just need someone to talk to. I'm down, man. I love having conversations about this stuff. I appreciate you having me on as your first guest. I didn't even know I was your first one. So
Yeah,
that means a lot. I'm really thankful. Hopefully we can do this down the line again. I'd love to come back.
yeah, most definitely, for sure. Well, we appreciate you, Ryan. Any final words? Anything else you want to say to the people?
The last thing I want to say is whatever point you're at in your healing journey right now, it doesn't mean this is the point you're going to stay. And as long as you keep pushing to find answers and advocate for yourself, there's going to be a better tomorrow. And I can say that from personal experience. So just keep on keeping on.
Yes, let's go.